Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Got some words of hope for you today, courtesy of Max Lucado, big part of it from his book, Outlive Your Life. So he tells a story. He says, we like pardon, right? I mean, when people pardon us. That's the old joke. What did Richard Nixon say when he bumped into Gerald Ford at a function shortly after Ford had become president? You know what Nixon said, pardon me. Anyway, shouldn't have gone there. So Psalm 25 verse 11 says, for your name's sake, O Lord, pardon my iniquity, for it is great. I mean, that's everybody's story. I mean, so some of us, our iniquity is like this and some of it's like that, but the reality is we all need a pardon. So he tells a story, which reminds me of a story. So I'll tell his story first. And he talks about rushing to church one day. And so the cop says to him, he gets pulled over by a cop. And he looked at his driver's license and he says, your name is familiar to me. Aren't you that minister here in San Antonio? And he says, yes, sir. He says, are you on your way to a funeral? Max says, no. An emergency? No, I'm not. And then he says, you were going awfully fast. And Max says, I know. He says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a second chance. Yes. Isn't it the best? Because getting pulled over is not a treat, is it? I mean, who's just like, yes, I'm getting pulled over? And especially out-of-state tickets. I'm always very careful in the state to the north, if you know what I'm saying. I think they look for Illinois plates. I'm just saying. So God has posted his traffic signs all over, okay? Everywhere we look, there's things in the universe, in Scripture, and even in our hearts. They say, don't go over there. But, you know, a lot of times we disregard God's direction. Even though it's black and white in Scripture, what part of no do we not understand? But he's also drenched the world in grace. We'll come back to that in a moment. So on my recent hiking trip, we were headed to White Sands from Carlsbad, and we were going through the town of Carlsbad. We were just about to, on this highway, when we saw this black smoke up ahead. And we realized it's just on the side of the road. And then we realized, unfortunately, we were about 5 cars back from it, and they weren't going to let us pass. So we lost like 45 minutes. And when we came by, there was a bunch of emergency vehicles, but there was no ambulance, and we think that the driver got out. But I mean, it was a first-class barbecue, if you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you could look inside. If anybody was inside, they would have been killed. We could see that. But I think the person got out in time. And so we lost 45 minutes. Then we get into town, and there's just cops zipping all over the place. I mean, they're everywhere. And I'm trying to drive really carefully, and Craig's giving me instructions because he's got the GPS on his phone. And then we go through this one intersection, and then he says, and now you go straight. And I'm starting to see that there's a cop at this intersection, and I go through, and Craig said, there's a stop sign back there. It's like, yeah, I was looking at my speed when I saw the cop, and I missed the stop sign. So I stop, put my flashers on, roll my window down, and there's like, now I can see there's 4 other police cars, but the police officer doesn't come up behind me. She comes up along beside me. She seems annoyed. She rolls down her window and she just says, you know, there's a stop sign back there. And I'm like, and she's just gone. And I'm just like, thank goodness she has bigger fish to fry. She had no interest in me. But isn't pardon a good thing? I went from, this is going to be costing me over $100 to, now I'm back on the road and I got a break. And after that, we continue to see all these police officers all over the place. But you know what pardon is like? The grace of God. We never want to take advantage of it, and I'm not encouraging that. But it's like standing down at the ocean, every wave that rolls in. I can guarantee you, until God brings this whole thing to an end, those waves will keep coming in. And so the waves of grace are available to you through Jesus, through the new covenant, through what he has done for us. Receive his pardon, take your second chance, and drive safely. Have a great day.